we've been talking a lot around here about the president's proposal with regard to student loan, canceling student loan debt. There's another element of that that's presumably still yet to come, and that is the income contingent piece, where they're going to change the requirements for student loan repayment based on your income. And presumably that would all be done through, executive order, through regulations, through the regulatory process. I mean, what are the tensions there? I mean, when Congress can't agree and you're in the White House and you want to get something done, I'm sure the temptation is to push the envelope and say, well, we'll just do it through executive action. But, this is all playing out through the courts. You've got the Eighth Circuit Court, Supreme Court's now agreed to hear that case, where there have been challenges to administrative actions. Have we turned into have we crossed a new line here where, Congress is dysfunctional, so the administration is going to take action on its own. And then we have to wait and see what the courts say about whether the executive branch can do what they want to do. I mean, is this new?
We were talking before the break about the kind of policy uncertainty that can be created by relying on the reconciliation process. I think the same is true here. And I think, Steve, your sort of laying out of the current status of the president's proposal on student loan debt forgiveness is a good example of this. So, we have one piece that's been rolled out, but is now temporarily halted because it's undergoing a court challenge. He's extended the period where folks don't have to make payments because there's this court challenge. There's this announcement about income-based repayment, but we're still waiting to see what that would look like. So that's obviously a very uncertain policy environment that's being created in part by relying on the executive. We also know that we have lots of examples of this where when you rely on executive action to accomplish policy change, one administration will do one thing and then a new administration will come in and roll it back. So that creates uncertainty. And then the other thing that I'll say to kind of connect this back to the appropriations process, since I know that we want to talk about that, is I actually think that one in this sort of broader constellation of how the executive branch has become more powerful vis-a-vis Congress, one place where we also see that is with this increasing reliance on things like continuing resolutions and omnibus appropriations bills, which is that when there is sort of just the one big bill that everyone is working towards, it makes it harder for Congress to use the appropriations process as a mechanism for pushing back against the executive branch. If there's something in the executive branch is doing that Congress does not agree with, when we're talking about just one big bill, it's really like you got to be willing to shut down basically the whole government to have this fight. Whereas when Congress was doing individual appropriations bills, sometimes we would see those sort of for a particular agency where part of the conflict between Congress and the White House would be around particular administration priorities. But it's simply harder to do that when the costs to Congress of not acting on an omnibus appropriations bill are so high.
So you're saying basically the failure to follow regular order reduces congressional oversight of the executive branch.
Among other things, yes, that is one thing that it does.